All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the American Dota League. It is the playoffs. It's, of course, the quarterfinals game, the second game of the quarterfinals. We've got Smeagol versus Team Dignitas. Thank you all for joining us here on this Wednesday evening. My name is Mont. With me tonight, of course, is NY John. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm so hyped to see this game after last night's series that won the distance in 5 games. I just want to take a second to address the seeding. I mean, we emphasized it throughout the regular season. EG picking off that once was so crucial for them because the winner of this game now has to go and try and face off against Liquid, which is going to be a really tall task to begin with, but we're getting a little bit ahead of myself here because we do have this series first. But definitely EG doing a great job locking up that one seed. Makes them a little bit easier on that other side of the bracket. Could still be difficult.
Absolutely. So definitely looking forward to those games. You mentioned, of course, Denial and Typical Mistakes going at it and head-to-head. Best of 5 series, and it did, in fact, go the distance. It was a great series. For those of you that missed it, check out the VODs here or, of course, on youtube.com/American Dota League. Definitely a great series, of course, and moving on forward, as you can see through the brackets if you check out AmericanDotaLeague.com, it is going to be Denial Esports taking down Typical Mistakes 3-2, so they'll be facing up against EG, but now we're focusing on another series. Smeagol versus Team Dignitas. You mentioned the winner of this series will move on against Team Liquid, and most people are going to be thinking here probably that this is not going to be as close of a series as we saw last night with Typical Mistakes and Denial Esports, I think, and they, honestly, Smeagol's in for a tall task here against Team Dignitas, a team that is right now boot camping in Vancouver, Canada. They're playing extraordinarily well. You've got 5 great players sitting together, just, talking it out, making sure that every decision that they make is one that is going to help them and propel them to further on in this tournament. So we'll have to see if they can take this game up against Smeagol. And it is, of course, a best of 5 series, so we might even actually go the distance again here with all 5 games, but like we said, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit as we get the Wisp ban coming out from Smeagol, the Treant Protector and Codal ban coming out from Team Dignitas, and one more ban from Smeagol here as well on top of that. But a relatively kind of unfamiliar team here with Smeagol, Taku, and On the Clouds. A little bit of familiar faces, but some unfamiliar faces as well. So how do you think Smeagol's going to handle Team Dignitas here, John?
Well, we were discussing before the game, these are a lot of players on the side of Smeagol that we've seen around before, whether it be in the SCCS or various cups. I believe a couple players from Hi This Is Dog, which used to be a pretty prominent amateur North American team, so they definitely have a good amount of potential in terms of skill on their team. The question will be if they play together often enough to really get things going against a team that certainly has done that in Dignitas, and if they're going to be ready to work well as a group. But we do see this first pick, Darkster, coming out from Dignitas. They'll take it every single time, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Jakiro next. It could also be the Leshak. Occasionally they try to throw that in to throw us off.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. They love going with that Darkster Jakiro combo. But there's a Nature's Prophet now coming out from Smeagol with the Gyrocopter as well. 2 interesting pickups immediately, and the ban phase is changed. What?
Everything has changed. What is going on?
Is this supposed to be happening?
Is this real life?
I'm pretty sure this isn't supposed to be how it is, right? I'm not crazy.
I'll investigate.
Okay, well,
I don't know if the patch changed it back or not, but
this shouldn't happen. But because we've been consistent. All right. Okay. No, they were banned.
It was a visual glitch.
All right. Well,
weight off my chest.
We look like idiots now, but that's okay. They go for the Chen in a completely kind of unfamiliar move. I haven't seen them play a whole lot of Chen, but that's very interesting to see. I'm excited to see how they're going to play that Chen, but that was weird. It was did not expect to see that. So they'll get a ban. And then Smeagol, of course, going to have their ban as well on top of that. They're going to go for the Naga Siren, make sure you take that mid Naga Siren out of there. And, yeah, everything looking good for Team Dignitas right now. Of course, foregoing that Jakiro, which is actually really interesting to me. They go for the Chen, and a hero that I haven't seen them play a whole lot of. I believe Fogged is their 4-player, or is he their 5-player? I think he's their 4-player.
I think Wei-2 would take over the Chen, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, Chen is a hero that a lot of teams have to work to try and integrate because he is still amazing, and he's been amazing for a long time now. But just even thinking about last night, the effectiveness Masuko had on that Chen when he picked up 3 Troll Warlords, it was ridiculous the amount of lockdown he had against the enemy team. So this is a hero that you're right, we don't see Dignitas use all too often to my memory, but it certainly is a worthwhile hero to practice on when you're boot camping, and I think that's probably the case here. Dignitas trying to expand their options a little bit. And what you said about Jakiro is a good point as well, but Jakiro is still one of those supports that He's available a lot at 3-4. You don't have to pick him up top 2 always. And we talked about experimenting a moment ago, and this could be a point where they're going to see if they force the ban out on him, then you get some other good options falling back into the next couple of picks. And in this instance, he won't actually get banned, so maybe you can still get him if you want him.
Yeah, absolutely. And he will not get banned here, as we see the Lifestealer and the Luna ban coming out from Smeagol. We see the Bane ban from Team Dignitas. They certainly could go for that Jakiro if they want to, put that Darkseer and Jakiro combo, that wombo combo together, if you will. Nagasawa not available like we saw in the previous games last night with Denial picking up the Nagasawa. And with the Gyrocopter, Jakiro was really, 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 really nicely done from them. But with the Gyrocopter and Nature's Prophet, Smeagol going to look for some supports and maybe even a mid as well on top of that right now. The question is, are they going to be effective enough to play up against a team like Team Dignitas, who is consistently playing up against top-tier opponents and, leagues like, just the D2L, things of that nature, essentially, which is, they've been doing pretty okay in that. And we see the Shadow Demon coming out for Smeagol, so that's going to be their support like I was talking about. They needed to pick one up there. Not going to pick their mid. You usually see that mid pickup come last. So the Shadow Demon is going to be that first pickup for Smeagol, leaving Dignitas, of course, with the next pickup as well. They can go for support if they want to. Their carry, their mid. They've got a whole lot of options here because with their draft right now, with that Darkseer pickup first, it gives them a variety of options and choices where they can go for in their draft next. But with the Jakiro, we talked about it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see it come out, but at the same time, maybe with that Chen, you want to put something down that's maybe a little bit safer to run in a dual lane when you have the Chen, because you're going to be going for a dual lane rather than, of course, it's I guess you can call it a pseudo tri lane because that Chen comes in from time to time to help out. But
yeah, I like to call it 2.5, 2.5, but I think that Jakiro is one of the safer duo 2.5 runners because of that long range disable. They're going to go for the Visage instead, and Visage is amazing support as well. The only problem I'm seeing is that there isn't that great amount of lockdown right now. Chen, if he gets lucky with the creeps, of course, will have some. The familiars can give you a stun. Darkseer has a vacuum, but this is... I don't want to panic or throw any red lights up there. Don't interpret it that way. But when you have 3 of your bottom half heroes and they don't have many disables between them, sometimes this could be an indication for another team whether they want to be a little bit more aggressive, if they want to pick heroes that can thrive in terms of mobility or not. And we'll see if Smeagol pick up on that, or if Dignitas are going to pick a couple of carries that do have stuns to throw in there.
Yeah, that lockdown, you mentioned it, so crucial. I mean, lockdown really, really necessary to have against heroes, especially who can throw out some channeling ults or some, of course, abilities that require, or just some heroes that are a little bit more speedy and, of course, slippery. But as it stands right now, Smeagol's lineup is not a whole lot of, the only mobile hero here that I can really think of is Nature's Prophet. You can get that Gyrocopter with the phase and the drum, making it difficult to kill him. But at the same time, thinking about Team Dignitas' lineup, it's kind of out of the ordinary. Not necessarily out of the ordinary, but just kind of not really standard, whereas Smeagol's lineup is exactly what you expect. You've got Lockdown with Shadow Demon Jakiro, of course following up with that Ice Path after the disruption, and then Nature's Prophet to farm, Gyrocopter to farm. Everything looks standard there. Puck is going to come out for Team Dignitas, which will solve a little bit of the problem of Lockdown with that Dream Coil. However, they're going to need to have a nice initiation. The vacuum into the Dream Coil is certainly possible, and we've seen it before, especially with, Universe playing on that Darkseer. Can absolutely happen again. I mean, Universe is just one of those kids that likes to dunk on people, essentially, so hard. But we'll see how it goes as we get the last ban from the side of Smeagol. It is going to be that Weaver and Dignitas as well. They're going to have a ban in just a moment, and then we'll get to the last picks.
Yeah, I think one of the bans I would keep in mind is a Dragonite could fit in decently here as a solo middle option. Gives you a little bit extra push. He does fairly well against Puck. It's kind of a CSing lane for him. But there's also the possibility of that Queen of Pain because of that lack of hard disable here. Against the Puck, of course, that's a 55-45 matchup. It's really even. It depends on player ability more so than the heroes, really. And since there aren't that many disables to fall back on, Queen of Pain can get things rolling outside of that one Silence and Dream Coil potentially. But that's what I'm thinking for Smeagol. I think the Quap could be one of the better choices because of the sheer amount of damage she'll be able to output early and often in this game.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think Queen of Pain certainly could be the lineup they want to go with right now to figure it all out. I mean, they have 1 minute and 36 seconds here left on reserve time, so they have plenty of time to really think about what they want to do in terms of their mid laner. They've got everything else set up, unless they want to send that Gyro mid, which would be very surprising. But they will go for the Queen of Pain, so John, you're already 1 for 1 tonight. Excellent. Starting off with a bang there. And meanwhile, Team Dignitas, they've got a carry to pick up for AUI 2000. And, well, we'll see what it is.
Yeah, I think the Alchemist is the best choice right now. I mean, just looking at everything that's available, it gives you the Concoction Stone, which is an amazing stun. He farms at a great rate, so when you're competing against Gyrocopter, since he does farm so well, they're not going to go for the Anti-Mage, though. So, can't get 2 for 2, but close. But
No?
against the Gyrocopter, what I was going to say is he has Flat Cannon, so he farms fast. Alchemist can compensate for that with the Grieval's Greed, but instead the Anti-Mage, we all know AUI is a great carry player, so they're going to try and make the most out of the AM instead.
They're going to go for the anti-fun. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are in game number 1 between Team Dignitas and Smeagol. This is, of course, the second quarterfinals game. I got ahead of myself there a little bit. But this is the ADL. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you check out everything at AmericanDotaLeague.com. And we're going to jump into the game real quick as we get a quick pause out coming from somebody. Doesn't really matter because we're going to jump back into the game, but here we go. On the side of Smeagol, we have Taku, the captain on Gyrocopter on the Clouds, or OTC will be on the Shadow Demon. 272 is going to be on the Queen of Pain. Sana will be on the Nature's Prophet, and KGB Killer will be on the Jakiro. John, if you'd like to do the Radiant side.
Dignitas on our Radiant side. As we have a pause coming out, we have AUI 2000 on the Anti-Mage. Fellow New Yorker Fogged on the Visage. We have Way Too Sexy on that Chen. So that makes me right in that department. Suck it, Mount. Mistaking on the Puck. And Universe on Darkseer. Just messing with you, but of course.
I'm getting flamed.
Fogged went from 2 to 5. This is a huge transition from him falling back to make sure he can be the play caller for Dignitas, I believe. He does a lot of that nowadays, whereas he usually used to be, before Snaking had come back, that 2 role.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit, before the game started during the drafting. Dignitas are going to be gaining the help of boot camping, essentially, and having 5 individuals in the same area, no lag whatsoever between the players, is super necessary to have. The last time I think we saw them in the ADL, Dignitas was lagging a little bit, at least the last time I saw them. And then they had a little bit of, packet loss issues coming out from AUI 2000 in Universe. So, with the internet hopefully going in their favor now, and of course, just being in the same general area and being able to talk and just communicate rather than having to use a VoIP program, I mean, they're going to be happy here. Whereas Smeagol, you can already see right off the bat, Taku's going to disconnect immediately and maybe get something rectified. But this is, you actually look at Queen of Pain and the rest of Smeagol are smoked up right now. Interesting. Now we have 2 disconnects coming out.
It's making it really interesting off the get-go here. And it's actually pretty funny the chat they're doing. But Fog does play Jakiro so often that he's just interrogating KGB and asking if he's going to copy his build. But other than that, you're right. AUI 2000, last time we saw Dignitas having really bad lag problems. We're talking about 300 ping in various games, and it was kind of inexplicable. His internet was fine otherwise. It was connection to the server issues. But being on that LAN setting, well, not a LAN setting, but being in that team house is definitely going to rectify a lot of that. And you said it perfectly. The communication is going to be much stronger, ideally. Of course, the breakdown could be much more severe as well if things do get away from them. But this is really going to test Dignitas. It's the first time they're boot camping, to my recollection. There we go. Recollection.
Okay.
Thinking back. And I think a lot of the Western fans are excited to see what Dignitas can make out of this. They've always been an innovative team. They picked up Tiny, and they were the only team that played him so often. They started Doom, really, and we're going to see more from Dignitas as a result of this boot camp.
Rest in peace, AUI 2000 Tiny, because I have not seen him in quite some time. But, yeah, I mean, you talked about it. I do want to ask you a question. Well, we've got a few moments here. Would you rather be boot camping in Vancouver, Canada, or in Las Vegas, Nevada, where it's 120 degrees out? And I'm assuming you've seen at least pictures of one or both of the houses. If not,
I've seen the outside of the Vegas house.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've seen like the living room tweet.
Okay, you saw the same pictures I did.
Vancouver house.
Good.
And I would rather be boot camping in Vegas because it's Vegas. And
Vegas.
It wouldn't be a gaming centric notion from me. I'd just rather be in Vegas. If I wanted to focus and I wanted to probably maximize my potential to cash in at TI3, I'd probably say Vancouver because the distractions are probably few and far between compared to Vegas.
I think you're right. I mean, I got to give props.
I've never been to
Team
Vancouver.
Liquid.
I've never been to the West Coast, so I don't know. I can't actually say for sure, but going on reputation alone.
Yeah. No, I'm going to agree with you there. And I got to give props to Team Liquid for doing what they're doing, but is this really going to, and I'm going to say it, and don't flame me, but is this going to produce the best results for Team Liquid by putting them in Las Vegas, Nevada, also known as Sin City, in an environment where it is constantly above 100 degrees out with a pool and a trampoline in the backyard? Well, it's up for you to decide, ladies and gentlemen. And we can get Sam's take on it once we start doing that again, but, up until then, I don't know, guys. These are questions we need to have answered.
I think it's going to be pretty cool. I think they're pretty strong-willed guys. I don't know if they're going to fall off the wagon.
No,
I'm joking. Anything like that. I think I would, personally.
Yeah, well,
knowing my history at Atlantic City alone, it's like the mini Vegas of the West. The East, rather.
John, listen, both of us, we would go from, like, if we were theoretically on a team, let's say we were theoretically on a Dota 2 team, and we went to Las Vegas, Nevada to boot camp. I don't think either of us would be sitting in that house very long. I think we would probably be going to some casinos, maybe getting some drinks, things like that. But all joking aside, I think Fluff is kind of the captain that will rope his team in, and he seems to be pretty serious. He's got some clowny players on his team. Don't get me wrong. Let's talk about Boba here. He can be funny and interesting, but I think Fluff has that leadership aspect to him. He'll get those guys to focus, and Bulba's been to the the international before as well. They know that they have a lot riding on them in terms of hopes, in terms of the American scene, and Dignitas as well. So both teams are going to be focused, and I think they're going to play at their utmost potential to really get things done. But we will have some more disconnect issues apparently coming out from the side of On the Clouds, but that's okay. It's fine.
Well, let me ask you. Let's stay on this topic. This is about American Dota, and it's pretty on point in terms of what we're doing with the American Dota League here. We get to see some of the best talents. What do you think of a month-long boot camp? Do you think that's too long for playing Dota straight? Do you think that's not enough? For me, a month sounds like a really long time. Like, I know you want to have perfect teamwork, but you play with each other so often outside of boot camp that I feel like 2 weeks, maybe a week, actually living together. But do you think a month is a long time, a short time? What's Mott's idea?
I think a month is a deceptively. I think people perceive it as a long time when in all actuality a month can fly by very quickly. You take the month of July, for example. We're just starting it. We're already a few days in, however. But, just from my personal perspective, this month is going to fly by. We have, at the end of July, we have the International. I think people kind of get hung up on the notion of just like, a month of boot camping, when you think about what goes on, and I guess all around the world, and things like the armies for boot camp, some, armies take, years to have people boot camp and stuff like that to, of course, really join the ranks of the actual army or whatever, or something like that. Obviously, that's not a fair comparison, but, you already know your teammates and stuff like that, but it gets you to be more comfortable. If you have issues, you can work those issues out at the boot camp. So I think it's something that people kind of put too much stock into. The length of time does not bother me. The longer, honestly, I think that the better it's going to be.
Let me play devil's advocate. So
okay.
We know the one stipulation about the International 3 is that
you can't change
no roster changes.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you have issues and you're at a boot camp and all of a sudden you have to live with someone you had issues with and you couldn't actually get off your roster for a long time, maybe you're not working these issues out. We always look at it with the rose-colored glasses and we're like, yeah, these issues are going to get resolved, but what if they get worse? What if you're going into competition and you really just want to be done with it?
You have to suck it up, man. I don't understand. How do you have problems with people on your team? Listen, I've never been on a competitive Dota team. I can understand. I've been on competitive teams before in terms of just sports and other things including I guess WoW or whatever, Counter-Strike, they kind of serve as a similar example. But, tempers can flare, I understand that. But at the same time, you have to just buckle down and you have to hunker down. You have to say, okay, listen, I know we have problems with this person or that person or another person, but you've got to suck it up. You have to just be you have to be zen. You have to work through your differences. You have to be nice to each other. And it's not I don't think any of these teams really shouldn't have any problems with, each other. They've been playing so much Dota for so long, and they're pretty much at the I guess what you'd say pivotal moment in their careers with the International 3. You just have to suck it up. And that might sound harsh to some people, but realistically, you're playing for above $2 million for probably first place. So,
Yeah, that's
Listen, if
pretty
you
good
want the
answer.
money,
Fair.
if you want to play well, you can't just go in with the attitude of like, well, we're definitely going to lose because I don't like this person. We're not going to work well together. That's not going to happen, and I don't think it will happen. But like, that's just something that's unacceptable, I think, to any team. So that's my thoughts. And then you go even further. If you have these problems and it shows that you have like a poor performance at the international because of these problems, and you talk about it later, then you might get just dropped from your sponsor entirely, which is something you definitely don't want. So, figure it out, work it out, suck it up. And we're just obviously we're being hypothetical here because we don't know anything.
Okay. Next scenario.
Okay.
Let's take it a step back.
All right. Okay.
You're a team up and coming in
Okay.
the American scene. There aren't many competitions that are easy to break into. The American Dota League shows up. You got an opportunity in the first season, and you did decent. Maybe you made the playoffs. Maybe this is a hypothetical. I'm not basing it off a real team.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to continue to have success, but there's not that many platforms to succeed on. I mean, do you feel like you're fighting an uphill battle, or what's your steps to success in the North American, South American Dota scene? How do you replicate what these other teams have done?
I think right now, there's American tournaments that are for amateur teams that have a decent prize pool, and they come few and far between as we get more disconnects. I don't know.
Oh,
what the
we have to
hell's happening.
reconnect.
We
have to remake.
All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna keep our finger on this button, and we're gonna talk about it maybe when we get back. So everybody, hold on a second. We're gonna go to an AFK screen. We'll be right back, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the American Dota League. We've got, of course, game number 1 between Smeagol and Team Dignitas here in the quarterfinals, the second quarterfinals matchup. We apologize for the delay. This is the first game, of course, because we actually did go through the entire pick ban phase. Smeagol had trouble with On the Clouds, who apparently was disconnected for the entirety of, I guess, what was about 10 minutes or so. And he didn't really show back up, so they're going to use another stand-in here for the side of Smeagol. That's all right, though. My name is Mont. With me tonight is NY John. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Excited to actually see this game start. This is quite a different lineup from Smeagol than what we've seen recently. And with On the Clouds disappearing really out of thin air, we have another player coming in instead of him, DDC, and it should make it all the more interesting, honestly. And
yeah, absolutely.
Big roll of the dice. We'll see if it works out for Smeagol. We talked about how this is lopsided in terms of favor for Dignitas, but can't rule out the underdog.
Yeah, definitely not. I think that Smeagol, they've got a good chance to, take a few games here off of Dignitas. Dignitas, they're going for a strong lineup already. We mentioned that they don't have a whole lot of lockdown, but we're going to just hold on a second while we get into some introductions. So, for the side of Smeagol, we've got Sano up on that Nature's Prophet. We're going to see DDC playing up the Shadow Demon, which was what On the Clouds was playing before he left. KGB Killer will be on the Jakiro. We will see Taku on the Gyrocopter. And finally, mid, we're going to see 272 on the Queen of Pain. John, if you want to introduce Dignitas, go ahead.
Dignitas is our Radiant team. We have Snaking mid playing the puck. We have Universe on the Dark Seer towards the top lane, and our bottom tri-lane is Way Too Sexy on the Chen. Fogged on the Visage, and AUI 2000 playing Anti-Mage.
That's right. Anti-fun, if you will, ladies and gentlemen. AUI 2000, Owie, one of the best farmers in the American scene, if not the world. He's certainly great at what he does, and we will see if he can carry his team to victory right now. We will, of course, have Universe up in that top lane, going up against that tri-lane, which is a tough tri-lane to deal with, but if there's anybody that can do it, it is going to be Sahil O'Neal. Just such a great player, Universe, on that Dark Seer especially. One of his favorite heroes to play. Well, maybe not. I mean, he might get sick of it after a period of time, but certainly has got to be something he's great at now, and that's very true. I think if you look at any Dignitas game where they're in a good position, a lot of that is to due to, of course, Universe's play on that Dark Seer. So, for those of you that just are joining us today, if you missed the results from last night, we had Typical Mistakes versus Denial Esports, a great best-of-5 series. Universe is actually getting aggressed on here. On the Radiant side of the map, you can see he's actually heading down to this mid lane right now. The Rocket Barrage did go, but he's going to back off, and Taku says, well, that's enough. We're kind of in a precarious position right now. Maybe not, though. They're staying around. There is that double damage, and DDC is going to go ahead and counterward. So already a nicely done counterwarding coming out from the side of the Dire here, but as I lost my train of thought. Talking about the last night's games, we saw Typical Mistakes in Denial Esports and went to 5 games, ladies and gentlemen. Some great games there, so you should check out the VODs, of course, at AmericanDotaLeague.com. And the winner of that game is heading on to face up against Evil Geniuses, which you can check out the results at Liquipedia or something along those lines if you'd like. The winner of this series will go up and play against Team Liquid, who is currently boot camping in Las Vegas, Nevada, whereas Team Dignitas, they've made their home for the next month in Vancouver, Canada.
Yeah, and looking at this game, I mean, it really is an interesting matchup because the team from Smeagol is well thought out. It's kind of the team we've been seeing, the theme of the month, really. This lineup that has, here we go, Taku's going to open up here.
Yep, the Ice Path is hitting perfectly. Universe might be in some trouble. He went for Iron Shell first. Of course, that greedy build means you don't have that Surge, and First Blood is going to be going for KGB Killer. So this is the problem with going for that greedy Iron Shell first up against a tri-lane. You have no way of getting out, including that Surge, but even if you go for that level 1 Surge, I mean, there's no guarantee you're going to survive either. So you talked about it. We talked about it at great lengths in the draft, how, of course, you have just one team who's kind of lockdown oriented and another team who's kind of lacking in that category. But
yeah, I mean, Smeagol definitely have some easy lockdown abilities, and then Dignitas kind of lacking when there's a Dream Coil, and of course if Chen picks up a Centaur like he does right now, there's some more, but it's not the easiest disable to get off. It's not the most reliable either. But either way, that definitely is the case in this tri-lane where they got an easy pick-off on Universe early here. And this is because of the good vision. They put the lane ward down. They countered the ward as we saw earlier. And it just provides full sight over the Darkseer. So Darkseer can't overstep his boundaries. Otherwise, the setup is just perfect for Shadow Demon. This is why Shadow Demon has been a popular pick, because he sets up ganks and kills so easily for his tri-lane. And of course, the follow-up with Jakiro is strong as well. Just wanted to note that Jakiro did opt for level 1 Ice Path, so different than Fog's Jakiro. If you were with us for the prior banter while we had to remake the game, Fog's, I believe, levels Dual Breath level 1.
yeah, I think you're right, and that certainly gives you a little bit more damage, of course, and it also has that slow. So I think it actually might be better, of course, than that Ice Path at level 1. But Ice Path, of course, is really good for just getting that lockdown, like we just saw. And you mentioned the Shadow Demon being a good support. I mean, he's been there since the dawn of time, it seems like, for Dota 2 at least. And so Shadow Demon, an excellent support in this scenario, is also helping out a lot. This mid lane right now is actually going the way of 272 by a little bit. There's going to be that waning rift on 272, but he's still got that Scream of Pain going. And we saw this in the previous matchup last night. When you go up against a puck, you actually really aren't going to go for Shadow Strike anymore. So it's curious to see people stop leveling that ability just because they don't want to have to deal with the phase shift and have to juke it, essentially. But certainly the Scream of Pain is going to be dealing some decent damage. It's harder to phase shift that than, of course, these Stifling Daggers. So we'll see how this matchup mid goes.
Yeah, and this is kind of an older build on Queen of Pain as well. People used to not level the Dagger because Dagger, before it got buffed, I can't remember when it was. I think it was actually after the International last summer, but it wasn't the best ability, or Shadow Strike, I call it Dagger by accident. It actually wasn't the best ability, so people eventually started putting some extra stock in it and realized that it was good. And this is an older school build that is set up to work well against Puck, and that's what you got to do. You have to gear yourself for your lane matchup, because as a solo, you're going to rely on the fact that you are going to get your levels eventually. You don't have to worry about those. There's no concern. You're going to get them one way or another, and that's what Queen of Pain is doing right now, as the Bottle Crow is going to be in full effect coming out to her momentarily.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Way Too Sexy with an Invisible Rune. He's going to be stalking out the Ancient stack here on the Dire side. Not going to find anything. He might use that Centaur Con to maybe go gank either in that mid lane or maybe even another lane, which would be top. You already see Sano. He's going to be leveling up through the jungle, which means that he's going to be getting some decent experience in last hits as well. Looking at Universe's farm right now, he's only sitting at 5 CS. He's also sitting at level 3. So with this jungle for the side of Sano, he's got a little bit more to work with here. He's going to go for that early Gloves of Haste, and now we do see a smoke gang coming out in the mid lane, and this is just your typical roaming strategy, especially with these two strong roaming supports. They're going to look for a kill here on Staking, who's going to jaunt away, and this is dangerous. Ice Path is going to come out. He's going to avoid it now. He's going to also phase shift right now. They're going to have to dive very far if they want this. The Dual Breath, the Scream of Pain as well. No, the Disruption was wrongly timed there. You can see it now. He will, in fact, go down, and it's the Nature's Prophet grabbing the kill, but that was still very dangerous coming out from Smeagol. A little bit of miscommunication is going to go, and a blink coming out from the side of 272 to make sure that he survives. He actually had his Bottle Crow going, I believe, at the time. Meanwhile, down in that bottom lane, they went ahead and decided to push as they realized that, well, if you're going to do that in the mid lane and the top lane, we're going to go ahead and take a tier 1 tower, maybe even a tier 2 as well on top of that.
Yeah, so it's nice they got the kill on to Snaking early here, but they're taking a lot of punish for it. That tier 1 already down, the tier 2 down to half. It looks like they're going to lose that as well. So in terms of an actual gold trade-off, Smeagol are losing in this regard, but keeping that puck down is going to be pretty crucial for them as well. We know how good of a solo player Snaking is, and if he gets rolling, he can end games by himself. So it definitely is a good kill. They just need to get some focus down to his bottom lane and try and slow down this pressure.
Yeah, and that's what they're exactly trying to do right now. You've got Sano here. He's already thrown his tree nets up, but Shadow Poison as well is not going to be enough. AUI 2000 already at level 6 here. He's going to take that tower. Well, he's actually pretty close to level 6 anyway. He will take that tower. He's got his Ring of Health, and he's got 1,800 gold to spend in that bank. Meanwhile, Snaking's going to get that double damage rune in that mid top rune spot. Top lane, Taku's going to grab some CS as well. He's sitting at 27 right now, but Howie 2000, we talked about how good his farm can be. Well, he's sitting at 40 last hits right now at 6 minutes and 17 seconds. I don't think he's missed a CS yet, or at least he's pretty close to it.
Yeah, he's probably missed a couple, but it's really good. I mean, he's on track for almost that 80 mark. I think 82 is perfect CS for 10 minutes or something, but he's definitely up there, and it's really hard to maintain that considering they pushed all the way through a tier 2. So him still being on point is amazing. Snaking also picks up a double damage in the middle lane, which is going to help him kind of control this Queen of Pain a little bit better, as Quap does pick up, looks like, an early wand on the Courier. We also see Soul Ring up, and Nature's Prophet has his Midas. So Nature's Prophet ends up going in the jungle. As a result, that bottom lanes get pushed early, but he's going to have more revenue coming in than he would have prior because that Midas is in play.
Yeah, and they did lose that tier 2 tower, which does give that nice gold advantage for the side of Dignitas. Meanwhile, Dreamcowl is going to go mid. You're going to see Snaking taking some damage. Nice phase shift. He won't be able to jaunt away for another 5 seconds as he already used that Illusion Orb. He's going to bottle up. He's pretty speedy. And of course, that Shadow Demon has no boots, so he can't really catch up either. Actually, he does have boots, excuse me. So, actually, they're looking to maybe initiate on him again. He can, of course, throw that Illusion Orb, and in fact, will do so. But that's going to the mid lane right now. He's just trying to make sure he could do some damage or something. Wait for his teammates to arrive, who are trying to get there. Way too sexy and Fog. They're making their way over there right now, as you can see. There are 3 heroes here mid for the side of Smeagol, and they're looking to maybe initiate on Snaking or just throw some pressure on this tier 1 tower, but that might be the death of them. Of course, Fog with that Soul Assumption. They're throwing out the caution pings right now, realizing that they have Fog there in that mid lane, so they see him there. They're going to realize maybe we should back off here. You can see DDC sent to the jungle. So already, you know, this matchup going a little bit for Smeagol so far, but of course that gold lead is going to be going for Dignitas. It's still early on, and you know, anything can really happen here. Universe is going to continue to get those levels, and now Dignitas is going to rotate up to the top rune spot and grab a Invis rune for Snaking.
Yeah, and that was almost an awesome bait middle lane for the Queen of Pain plus Shadow Demon combo, but they just couldn't get enough damage or catch up to Snaking quickly enough to finish him off, which is a little bit of a shame because they did get the Dream Call out of him, and he did commit pretty hard to try and kill that Quap, but now middle lane with that Invis, he's going to have Dream Call off cooldown in 4 more seconds, and they're going to be looking to try and make some big plays here early on, while Antimage is still pushing out the bottom lane by himself, putting some damage on the tier 3 tower already. So once again, we see AUI being pretty relentless in his pushing efforts and still farming very well on top of that. Sano with no mana has to be careful. If AM uses the Mana Void, it's going to deal a decent chunk to him. Remember, of course, Nature's Prophet, sometimes we forget, is an int hero, so pretty big mana pool.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, I mean, you mentioned how relentless he is, and you can't really let him do that. I mean, Hour 2000, he's got right now 59 CS at 9 minutes into the game, so it's starting a little slow a little bit here, but I mean, they do have, of course... Oh, Disruption was going to go. Nice Dream Coil coming out from Snaking in the mid lane as well, but he's got no follow-up here from his teammates. There's the Sonic Wave. Snaking's going to go down as he's got no help. I'm not sure what he was trying to accomplish. Doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, they pick up that kill, but top lane, they're trying to push this tier 1 tower up here in the top lane now. So Dignitas is going for this pushing effort all around the map. However, they do lose Snaking. Always continuing to farm. You saw him push into that tier 3 tower. Now they're actually going to try to trade here. Fortification is going to fly. They might be able to TP in and defend this here if they want to. This tier 1 tower taking some damage as the fortification has ended. The Chen will pick up that tower kill in the top lane, so that is the tier 1 gone. In the top lane for Smeagol, here comes the TP rotations from Dignitas. They're looking to initiate right now. Illusory Orb is going to fly out first. He's got no Dream Coil right now. 272. He's backing off. Sano's thinking about staying, but there's the Grave Chill going as well. Can they have any more initiation coming out? Looks like they're going to not chase this here, but they're going to stop the pressure on that tier 1 tower mid with some nice TP rotations. The tower is not in deny range. Meanwhile, Snaking with the really aggressive jaunt there, coming out with that Illusory Orb. It doesn't really matter, though. He's in an okay position right now. And they ping out Hour 2000, who is still continuing to farm away. He is 1 item away from a Battle Fury, looking at a 12-minute Battle Fury right now with all of those towers going down.
Yeah, and I just noticed something really interesting. Taku is actually sitting on 3,100 gold. So I have no idea what he's doing. This is really unorthodox for an early game Gyrocopter,
Naked
of course.
Rapier.
That's what I was maybe considering that, but I don't want to put it out there because I guessed Rapier so many times last night and it never just actually happened. So I'm a little bit down on Rapier right now. Sell. But
Sell.
Gyrocopter is looking for some kind of big item. I mean, he needs these intermittent items, the smaller items, to just be a little bit tankier, only sitting 750 in health. Puck can probably kill him in one skill rotation. So if he is saving this much money, it's got to be for something big. I don't know what it is.
I'm like kind of hoping it's a rapier, but I'm also kind of not, because that could be a pretty big. I mean, they're not really leading or anything like that, but giving up a rapier is like at 15 minutes in the game, probably not what you want to do. They have a nice experience lead. However, they've got a 4,000 gold deficit, which Dignitas is saying thank you very much. Aoi 2000 is like a minute and a half away, not even that, from his Battle Fury. And when that gets going, I mean, you know what happens. You've seen it before. You saw it last night on certain occasions. And they're also, controlling the map by pushing, which is something that you don't want to have happen when you've got an anti-mage on the opposing team. You want to be the person controlling the map, when you have to go up against an anti-mage. And right now, they're not doing that. They are going to smoke and they're going to look for a pick-off here, but it's going to be very tough to really kill Aoi 2000. I mean, he's going to blink away, realizing he might not be in the best-case scenario here. Fog got very close to being caught out there. They're going to get revealed as well, so Fog will back out very quickly. They throw down a nice Radiant Ward here for the side of Dignitas. That's going to give them some nice vision. KGB is still flying around in that smoke, but it doesn't really matter.
There it is.
Yep.
The Sacred Relic rears its face.
Well, guys, I don't know what to tell you here.
Maybe it's just an early Radiance. Maybe it's a Radiance rush.
It's a Radiance on the gyrocopter. Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be it. He said with sarcasm intended. 272 is going to take up an Illusory Orb right now, and John, I'm probably just as speechless as you are. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting approach from Taku. Remember, Taku played support for Smeagol before these wholesale roster changes into this game, so maybe he hasn't played carry that often, is undervaluing the rapier, needs a lesson from his...
No, there is no excuse for buying a rapier. Taku's played Dota long enough, and
he cut off the familiars really quickly. That is definitely one upside. But I mean, I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. That's definitely going to make the game a lot more exciting, as we only see 3 kills so far in 13 minutes. Boo. But the rapier will set things going in the right direction. See Sono TPing into the middle lane. He's actually doing pretty good in terms of his farm. If you look at net worth, he's second after the anti-mage. So props for him actually starting off in the jungle and maintaining it with that Midas. And I just wanted to note that last night we saw the anti-mage on Sleeslow farm so well in that game 5. And the hard lockdown was in place for Denial. It's what allowed them to cope with him so effectively and not go on to win the game. Smeagol don't have that hard lockdown. So it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to let him free farm.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will see another push coming out this time. And actually taking some damage here. You can see, oh man, DDC just barely not getting out there in time. Aoi 2000 is going to take a free kill. And now you know what this means now. I mean, if one person does it, you've got to, rise to the task as well. You know exactly what item we want to see, Aoi. Don't fail us now.
I can bet Rares that he will not buy a rapier.
Yeah, well.
He will try and find the other one if there is one in play, though. KGB's in trouble, though.
Yeah, KGB has to back off right now. Soul Assumption is going to do a lot of damage. That Familiar is going to go down. Not that it's going to matter. There's 2 Centaur Warcons right now. Hand of God is going to go. Sonic Wave as well. Not doing a whole lot. Nice stuns as well. Call down. Big Ice Path as well. Going to do some damage there. The mech's going to go as well. Dream Coil going from snaking right now. They can't move. Sano and Taku, they got to get out of there. Taku is going to fall. And that's going to, of course, alleviate any concern about that rapier early on. Fog with a double kill right now. Meanwhile, snaking looking for more DDC. He is going to fall. Everybody is dying from Smeagol. 4 down. And now they have a 5-4 lead here in 14 minutes and a pretty client engagement. Aoi's going to continue to go. Wants that team wipe. Sondo decided to stay for whatever reason. There's no mana void. Universe now diving the base. Aoi's going to blink in front and grab that kill, and an easy kill it is. He's going to have to TP out now, but he's not going to survive. No way. Oh, no way. I thought for sure, but the buckler charge maybe just saving his life as well. Nicely done from Dignitas. Universe maybe in some trouble. Scream of Pain not going to hit. 272. Shadow Strike not available. He didn't skill it. Remember that. That's a big deal there. Now the Familiar doing some damage. Vacuum. Disruption's going to go. Soul Catcher as well. 272 wants this kill. Surge is going to go. Doesn't matter. You've got a blink with the Queen of Pain. It'll grab that kill as well. So they get 1 revenge kill, but an entire team wipe going for Smeagol right now. All right.
Yeah, things escalated quickly. Still going. Snaking in trouble.
Yes, the Snaking is now taking a Rocket Barrage. A nice dual breath coming out from the side of KGB Killer to grab that kill. Meanwhile, Fog will get a kill, and Fog getting a little bit out of position. The call down's going to fly. They want this kill for their Gyrocopter, and in fact, they will get it. He is now one Demon Edge away from that Rapier, which is 2,400 gold, ladies and gentlemen. He is about 900 gold away from that. And so they get a few revenge kills. Aoi 2000 does survive. He picks up an early Vlad's, despite, most anti-mages going for Yasha into Battle Fury, or Yasha into Mad Style, jeez. Sorry. But yeah, he's going to go for that Vlad's, which is going to get that increasing armor, the lifesteal as well. Really nice pickup there, and I think a lot of AMs are starting to go down that route more and more, so...
Yeah, I think the Vlad's is a much better item ever since that last patch, so I can definitely legitimize the choice instead of going straight for the Manta. Because Vlad's is also such an inexpensive item, like speaking in general terms, 2,050 gold, I believe, for the entirety of it, and it gives your whole team 5 armor, a little bit extra armor, a little bit extra damage, a little bit extra vamp, but either way, that is definitely good for team fights, and you maximize that value when you're as a group and you're getting plus 25 armor across your whole team. That's just tremendous. So I really do like that build, and it allows him to be super aggressive early here, whereas he would only have a Yasha by now if he had gone the other approach, or maybe even Ultimate Orb, which isn't nearly as effective. But we do see this game escalating quickly. I mean, it was 3-0 1 second, and now it's 7-7. Things got really weird there for a moment, but looks like we're going to slow down once again. We're going to see Dignitas try and get some map control. They throw this vision up. Look at this vision right now. They have, like, the whole team of Smeagol pinched down to the tier 2 in the middle lane because of this nice cone of vision. It is so well done. AUI is going to go ahead and push out the top lane. They're going to just try and wrap on this tower. It doesn't look like there's going to be a contest from Smeagol because they can't get under the tower.
And honestly, the way this game is going right now, there's only one tier 2 left after they take down this tier 2 in the top lane. Now DDC is going to get Dream Coiled. Ice Path is going to go as well. That's not going to stop Snake King from throwing that. You lose your orb as well. The silence, DDC in some trouble. He's going to fall. AUI 2000 grabbing that kill. And the more I think about it, Taku, this was the right decision, but you need to not die. You've got literally just 75 gold to make it to that Rapier. And when I want to tell a story real quick, okay? So bear with me here. And here it comes. There's the Rapier. Okay, excellent. Rapier's finished. But I want to tell a story. When I had... Some of you may be familiar with Aaron Spitwatcher. You know what? I can't tell a story because there's going to be a fight soon. Oh, there is going to be a big fight soon, I think. Maybe.
He's taking the long way home.
Yeah.
I'm just on Taku cam right now, but that tier 2 goes down in the middle lane, and this is going to be so interesting if you can get the flat cannon child cell from the high ground on the base.
Yeah.
They try and siege early here. This could really get them a couple of kills, but if he gets caught out at all, if Snaking jumps on top of him, still 853 life. Uh-oh.
Here we go. Here we go. Oh. No. Okay. They're just going to go ahead and counter ward.
Okay, false call. False alarm.
Yeah.
Everyone calm down. Everyone calm down.
Everybody relax. The Rapier is not in play yet. I mean, it's in play.
Oh, it's in play.
But it's not in play, if you understand my...
It hasn't hit
now
the
they want to
deck
fight. The Ice Path coming on Fogged right now. Can they do enough damage? Fog going down immediately. The Sonic Wave as well. The Flat Cannon doing a nice job there. Sprite on way too sexy. Blink forward coming in vacuum. Meanwhile, Aoi 2000. There's the Rapier on the ground. The Rapier is on the ground. And AUI doesn't pick it up. Who picked it up? KTV's got it right now. Aoi trying to get out of there. Hand of God is going to go 1-for-1 trade so far. Hand of God already went. I did not have my eyes on the Taku cam, sadly enough, but it's okay. The Jakiro has it. Just relax, everybody. He'll be up in 26 seconds. And now I get maybe a moment to talk about... No, I probably won't. But Aoi 2000 grabbing that kill really quickly. Of course, I think he did purchase up a Manta Style. No, he's getting very close to it. Yeah, he actually has it now, so he will have that fly out to him in just a moment. The Rapier on the ground in the base, that little sword thingy with that nice little icon. I guess it's really cool. But Gyrocopter will be coming back in just a moment. But yeah, I actually did not have the camera on Taku, which was my mistake there. So
yeah, amateur hour.
Oh, ouch! Flame. Big flames.
Yeah, necessary. Do you see Puck picking up the Staff of Wizardry? Or, excuse me, yes, the Staff of Wizardry. He already has 2 Null Talismans, so I kind of was hoping he would turn one of them into a Dagon and make things get really crazy because there isn't much life on this Gyrocopter, honestly. He could blow him up, and then all of a sudden it becomes a capture the flag with a Rapier, and that can get definitely a little bit hairy. But instead they're going to go for a Roshan here. Dignitas are going to start working on this. AUI somehow already finished off the Manta Style, so he is ridiculously farmed. I mean, almost 14,000 net worth. Okay,
yeah.
Now 14,000 net worth.
Yeah.
And with an Aegis on top of him, I don't even think it matters that there's a Rapier on the other team.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to end up in his hands sooner or later.
They need, like, treads or something, at least. Just get him some treads, anything. anything would be nice. But now, with that Roche secure, they have that Aegis. And if he dies once, I don't think he really cares that much. He'll probably take down, or try to take down Taku with his second life, which I'm sure that he can accomplish. They're going to go for the split push, the old good split push here. Taku taking a lot of damage already, you can see. Doesn't have a whole lot of health, you talked about. He's kind of a squishy hero, but he's got to, of course, always got to be aware. I mean, that flat cannon damage is scary, to say the least, but this is the exact way you need to play it if you're a Dignitas, okay? Avoid a lot of that damage by splitting them up, split pushing. Meanwhile, big Dream Coil coming through the silence as well. There's one dead, there's two dead. Now he's going for three. He's going to pick it up. He's on a mega kill streak. Buybacks are coming right now. Here comes Taku, the Sprout. AUI 2000. Oh, the Mana Boy. Taku's not dead yet, but the blink forward. There's the Rapier. Didn't pick it up. It's on the ground still. Not sure who picked it up. There's the Sonic Wave as well. Triple kill for AUI 2000. In the end, the Rapier doesn't matter. You can see it. It was just so devastating coming out from the side of Dignitas. Smeagol couldn't do anything about it. Snaking with an absolutely huge Dream Coil Waning Rift as well on top of that. So much for that Rapier, I guess, John.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult for a Rapier-only Gyrocopter to win a team fight when the rest of his team just gets disintegrated off the get-go, and then he almost gets one-shotted with a Mana Void. It really is difficult, and Smeagol in this game, I want to say they played pretty well. It's just the allocation of resources in some instances wasn't the best because they were committing 4 heroes middle to get 1 kill on a puck and allowing the other lanes to get pushed out as hard as Dignitas willed it, really, with tier 2s going down as early as 9 minutes. So that really does set you far back in the game. You just don't have that map control. You give up an early Roshan, and it makes it a real struggle to find some footing, and that's just the situation Smeagol had. But I'm impressed by how they handled snaking, how they played early on here. I think their laning phase didn't go that bad outside of just overcommitting a little bit.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think they kind of forced this one on themselves here with this Gyrocopter play, and I think they could have maybe come back from it. There is going to be the call down going, and this is really the moment of truth. Taku's trying to do some damage with the flat cannon. I mean, there is that pipe being popped. Fog will fall. Nice vacuum from Universe, as well as the wall replica. Too much damage. Another buyback coming through. Taku's still alive somehow. I'm not sure where, in fact, he actually is. Looks like he is dead now. Doesn't matter. Ultra kill coming out for AUI 2000. Unbelievable. He does not have the Rapier. Did anybody pick it up? Snaking did, so Snaking has, yep, you're thief Snaking, Taku says, and there's the Rapier done. It is on the side of Dignitas, so maybe not the best strategy coming out from Smeagol, but that's alright. They've got 2 more games to work with here. They are going to be down 1-0 here just as soon as this wall falls. You got to give them credit. I mean, they got some balls to do that. Up against Dignitas. Obviously, it didn't work, so maybe they need to go back to the drawing board here. And like you said, they didn't play poorly in the laning phase. I mean, there's not a whole lot you could do against AUI 2000 when he's got free farm, when they're pushing in like that. They had good roams, they had good ganks, they had, a little bit of a lead early on. But then that just kind of went to hell when they're like, all right, let's just pick up a relic now. So,
yeah, it's one of those games where, you see the Shadow Demon pick, and it's a great hero, but if it were a Bane instead, you have a lockdown, and then maybe you can cope with a super farmed anti-mage because at least you can Divine Rapier auto-shot him while he's being Fiend's Gripped. But the Shadow Demon doesn't give you that option, so not having that hard lockdown, whether it's the Beastmaster, whether it's the Lasso, or the Fiend's Grip, it really does make it tough to cope with an anti-mage that gets absolutely whatever he wants, free farm for days, and that was the case with AUI 2000 in this game.
Yeah, 837 GPM. That is the highest so far in the ADL playoffs. We saw a whole lot of 796s, 700, and all that stuff. And yeah, so we'll see how Smeagol performs in the next game in just a moment, guys. Thank you for joining us here on the American Dota League playoffs. You can check out AmericanDotaLeague.com for more info on the playoffs. Check us out at Twitter.com/AmericanDota and Twitch.tv/AmericanDotaLeague. Also, you can purchase up a ticket for only $5 in the Dota store. Make sure you check that out. With me tonight is John. You can follow him at Twitter.com/NYJohnTV. You can check me out at Twitter.com/Mont22. My name is Mont. Make sure you leave any criticism you'd like, any feedback in the chat. We would certainly appreciate it. And we're going to jump into the next game in just a moment, guys. So thanks for sticking around. We'll be right back.